Hooked on a feeling. I can't believe it. Got that 2001 vibe. Woo! Woo! What the hell did I just watch today? Woo! I remember this feeling. I remember what this used to be like. I remember that season. It was 2001. The Bears, after the opening loss, 17-9, I believe it was, to the Ravens, they came back, and yes, you lose to the defending world champs in week 1. You started Shane Matthews because you're an idiot, and then quickly afterwards, the whole trajectory of the season changed. And outside of 2 losses to the Green Bay Packers, somehow, someway, each and every single week, that Chicago Bears team under Dick Duran, with a young core on defense of Brian Urlacher, Mike Brown, Roosevelt Colvin, Warwick Coleman. Yeah, we going back a ways, baby. Woo! With James Allen in the backfield. Every week, it was always something. A lucky bounce, a lucky break, a fake field goal, a fake punt, some type of gimmick play. Marty Booker catching 100 balls for 1,000 yards, whatever the hell you needed. Somehow, someway, that 2001 Bears team would always find a way to get it done. Took advantage of the soft schedule and made the most out of it. You tell me how right now, especially if you're a Bears fan that remembers that 2001 season, how this team doesn't feel exactly like that one. Mitchell Trubisky is the Shane Matthews. Nick Foles is the Jim Miller. While certainly not a stud, it is clearly evident to you who the better guy is. And just like 2001, they idiotically started the wrong guy off to start the season, you could argue. Although I could argue you had to find out what you had in Trubisky once and for all to shut it up. And clearly, you know what the answer is. And you know how it goes. And a lot of you, especially Bears fans, are going to sit there and you're not going to care about the other things I'm going to talk about here in a moment. Because you're going to delude yourself with the delirium of the fact that somehow, someway, for the 3rd week in a row, the Bears figured out a way to snatch victory from the strong jaws of defeat. The hell did I just watch? Like the Lions choke job in week 1 was one thing. It's week 1 and Lions gonna Lions and all of this. But you're thinking, there's no way the Falcons a week after pissing it down their leg against the Cowboys, choking up a 29-10 lead in the second half, they're going to sit there and do it again. Ding dong, dumb dicks. That's wrong. Call them the fucking BDSM crew, because they love ball gags and getting fisted in the second half by opposing teams. And apparently, the coaching staff loves to do it to themselves. The hell did I just watch? Unbelievable. And what is astounding about this game is if you watched it the first 3 quarters, it was very, very clear who the vastly superior team was. And it was the Atlanta Falcons. Like, not even close. It was clearly the Atlanta Falcons. A team with a defense that's doo-doo, that's given up 38 and 40 points the first 2 weeks, missing several starters, off a said doo-doo defense, and the Bears couldn't do shit on them offensively. Between Trubisky the turd and Nagy the nincompoop as a play caller, they couldn't get anything done. They moved the ball, sure, sometimes when it came to actual growing a hard on and ramming the fucker into the end zone, they couldn't do it. Imagine that. And then the Bears so courageously looked and said, hey, you know what? Julio Jones isn't playing. So instead of putting the clamps on like this great defense we allege to be, that we are clearly not. And this, see, I told you once again just how true that is. Immediate big play to Calvin Ridley on the first Falcons offensive drive. Let's let Todd Gurley, who has no burst left in his legs, average 6 yards of freaking carry on our defense. Let's sit there and get lit up and surrender 26 points to the Falcons in the first 3 quarters. That'll get the job done. Offense, I see your mediocrity, and I raise it another one. But the big move, the defining moment for this game, and perhaps for this 2020 season for the Chicago Bears, is a guy that was so unimpressive that they ended up starting Mitch in week 1 anyways, came in and missed a lot of throws, had several that should have been picked off, so let's calm the lactation out of the breasticles just a little bit here, Bears fans. Let's be a little realistic. He still made some big money throws and hit some big plays. And the Bears proceeded to put up 3 unanswered touchdowns in the fourth quarter. After being down 26-10 in the fourth quarter, the week after, the Falcons had a 29-10 lead against the Cowboys in the second half. This time they said, we'll see you and raise it. 26-10 lead in the fourth quarter, and they lose 30-26. Hey, we've been running the ball successfully with Todd Gurley and Brian Hill on the ground all game. So you know when it gets to late fourth quarter, you got to lead. Let's do the Dirk Cutter thing and throw the ball 3 straight damn times. Like, good God almighty. This feels like 2001, which is the absolute worst feeling. Because what it means is the Bears are going to luck into winning a bunch of damn games. It's going to lead to contract extensions that are not merited, that are not deserved. Team's going to go into the next season fooling themselves into thinking they got something at the quarterback position, and then they don't. And then we know how history plays out. But if you're a Bears fan, if you want to celebrate, fine. You want to crown their asses, fine. Crown their asses. We'll be crying in January, coming back and saying, you took the job and you take turn. You should have listened. You should have listened. Like, even then you could sit there and say, even with Foles coming in cold halfway through the third quarter, didn't even get halftime to prepare to come in. Like, you just randomly threw him out there. You sit there and you say to yourself, okay, then, this team did something in the fourth quarter with Foles. Why was Trubisky ever the starter? But then you also got to realize this was, again, against a depleted Falcons secondary and defense. A terrible one at that, and depleted on top of that, and having to deal with the greatest handicap of all is Dan freaking Quinn as their caller and their head coach. Like, if you answer blank, this cannot persist. I understand you might feel a certain loyalty to him. You might have a certain affection for him. You might have a certain admiration for Dan Quinn. But the reality is the time has come. How much more of Matt Ryan's career are you going to waste with this incompetent nincompoop of a head coach and a coaching staff? There is absolutely nothing else you could say about today's game other than the Atlanta Falcons were clearly the vastly superior team for 3 quarters, which should have us talking about the incompetence and nincompoopery of Chuck Pagano, the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, and Matt Nagy, the offensive play caller and head coach. But instead, Dan Quinn's gonna Dan Quinn, Dirk Cutter's gonna Dirk Cutter, and the Falcons apparently gonna Falcons. Like, how could you look at your team, your locker room, your organization, and say you are committed to winning and that you give a crap at all, and that you have any type of accountability or standards or expectations, and allow Dan Quinn to ever come back in your building as the team's head coach? Like, it's cruel to say, it's harsh business. You say, well, you don't want to see people lose their jobs. Dude's got a shit ton of money. He cool. You cannot, and I emphasize again, cannot sit there and allow this to go. Like, it is so clearly coaching. It is so freaking obviously coaching. You can't sit there and blame the injuries, because they're still up 26-10 halfway through the damn fourth quarter. And they got butt raped by a quarterback. They got Big Ben, allegedly. They had a quarterback bend him over and doing the business from behind to him, who hadn't had all week to practice and prepare to be the number one. He came in cold halfway through the third damn quarter. Unbelievable. Yes, got lead. ball. Incompletions all around. Stop clock. Give Bears back ball. Makes sense to me. Ugga, my name Dirk Cutter. Fire that jackass too. Horrible. I mean, just. And you look at the defensive side of the ball. Fire Raheem Morris too. None of them deserve to be brought back. Missed assignments and blown coverages. Blown everything. Team just blows because their coaching staff absolutely blows. So the Falcons are officially done for the year now at 0-3, when realistically, with an even somewhat competent head coach, they should be 2-1 and thinking about the playoffs. And the Bears sitting there, the fortunate of all fortunate, by hook or by crook, one way or another, they're sitting at 3-3, and now you got Bears fans having delusions of grandeur. Oh my God, this is going to be awesome. Nick Foles showed he was clearly the guy. Against a terrible Falcons defense with the ultimate handicap of Dan Quinn as the head coach and shot caller on the defensive side of the ball, and a defense on top of already being bad was missing several guys from their secondary. But sure, let's talk about Foles. Well, Foles would have technically scored 5 touchdowns. Well, you know what? A-Rob let him down. But that throw wasn't great either. So that's a pick. Deserved to be called a pick. Anthony Miller is supposed to be wide receiver 1. He made up for it later in the game, I guess. But you got to make that catch. I agree with you. But let's also not forget that Nick Foles had several throws early on that should have been picked off. And if he was playing against an even competent NFL defense, they would have been. And the whole narrative about this game, once again for the third consecutive week, would be vastly different than what it is. And yet Chicago Bears fans are going to sit there and let themselves get sucked in. Don't do it. Don't be like Bears fans usually are. Sure, if you want to enjoy it, hell, why not? If you like playing the lottery at this point because nothing makes sense in your world in 2020, you know what? Roll the dice, pull out some cash, scratch off, give them the numbers, whatever the hell you got to do at the convenience store. Don't just be in the line in front of me, though. Happens every damn time. But seriously, the Bears are a fluke. They're lucky to be 3-0. They have benefited from playing 3 of the worst teams in the National Football League the first 3 weeks in the Lions, the Giants, and the Falcons. Make no mistake about it. And the Atlanta Falcons are 0-3 and deserve to be 0-3 because their coaching staff is full of morons and should all be fired. That's the truth. Those are the only 2 things to glean from this game. That, and it's going to quickly shape up to be the ultimate of no-win seasons for the Chicago Bears, because now there's going to be confidence. And all I'm waiting for is R.W. McCord to be brought into Soldier Field Sunday at the Colts game and be like, oh, do they still doubt us? Ugh. What a game. This goes to show you got to play all 60 minutes because you never know what's going to happen. Except for one thing, that a Dan Quinn coach team is going to screw the pooch in the second half. That you could damn near take to the bank.